Should skirts be banned in school? The BBC asked me to comment on a school's decision to ban skirts and introduce a gender-neutral school uniform. Now, before we start, let's not assume this gender-neutral uniform debate is just for schools. This is a conversation that needs to happen in workplaces across the world too. Both schools and workplaces should be open, inclusive and tolerant environments where everyone can be proud of and celebrate their authentic selves. It's a safe space where you can bring all of who you are to work and school. No hiding, no masks, showing up as the real and true you. For reference, I've written a full article on this topic. The link to it is in the description along with this video. What follows is a snapshot of what I discuss in that article. Gender is traditionally seen as a binary, meaning there are two genders, boy and girl. Our gender is assigned to us at birth. Now, most people think that gender is about your physical body, but that isn't the case. Gender identity is how you feel about yourself. It's how you feel on the inside. And this can be different from the sex you were assigned at birth. Gender expression is how you present your gender identity to the world through your individual preferences, how you look, how you wear your hair and your clothes. It's about your demeanour, your voice and the way that you speak. It's about your mannerisms and your movements. I prefer to see gender on a spectrum, where our sense of gender exists somewhere between male and female. That's how I experience my gender identity, and I know thousands of others that do too. Gender neutral means neither male or female. So why is having a gender neutral uniform important? When the gender neutral debate comes up, it's often thought it is for trans and non-binary inclusion purposes only. But I disagree with that. It's inclusive to a wide range of people. Yes, lesbians, gay men, those that identify as bisexual and intersex, they're able to express themselves more freely. But it also allows anyone that doesn't feel comfortable in the dress code that is associated with their sex assigned at birth to be their authentic self. When I was at school, which is a few years ago now, and in a few jobs that I've had, it was compulsory to wear a skirt. I felt incredibly uncomfortable and it affected me mentally. I wasn't able to bring all of who I was to what I was doing because I felt so awkward, so out of place, and I lost my sense of self. I was too busy in my head trying to come to some sort of peace about what I was being subjected to wear against my will, to be educated and to do my job to the best of my ability. Having a gender-neutral uniform enables people to express themselves fully, without any pressures to be or look a certain way. It gives a sense of freedom and liberation and creativity. A gender-neutral uniform allows everyone to feel comfortable and not to be confined by outdated gendered norms. I've always been gender non-conforming. You can ask me mum. I didn't attend any formal events at school, such as dinners or the end of year prom, because it was expected that I wear a dress. No way. If I'd have shown up in my trouser suit, I would have ostracised myself from my classmates even further. Getting the attention of a boy whilst wearing a trouser suit, can you imagine? Because I wouldn't want to out myself by looking at the girls. There are so many elements to unpack here. And even today, wearing a suit and tie on public transport as a woman is very challenging. The looks, the comments, the side glances, the hushed conversations, underhands. I find that rude, first and foremost. And secondly, I find it odd. When I was at school, I had to wear a tie. Adults didn't give me a second look when I was in my school uniform. Yet get me on a train today wearing a suit and tie, looking very dapper, may I say, sitting opposite a man in a suit and tie. You can imagine. Why is there such a heated debate about this? Well, that's a good question, and there are a few points to address here. Number one, some are using the gender-neutral uniform to eliminate the short skirt issue. These are two very separate aspects. Number one, dealing with inappropriately short skirts, and number two, a much larger discussion around inclusion. To mention the elimination of short skirts and introducing a gender-neutral uniform as the solution is mixing the two conversations and giving a warped perspective to the wider population about gender-neutral issues. The two matters need to be separated out. Number 2, what about boys? If you ban skirts and introduce trousers for the girls, what about the boys? They may want to wear skirts, but are now not able to. That isn't being inclusive. Forgetting any social constraints that they may feel, I'll come back to this point later. Number 3, and what about the girls that want to wear skirts, but you ban them for everyone? What about them? That isn't inclusive either. Number 4, some people see this as LGBT plus inclusion gone mad. What people aren't seeing here is this isn't only for the LGBT plus kids to feel included. Non-LGBT plus kids don't feel comfortable in skirts too. It also has practical issues such as restricting movement and denying participation in sport in the playground. Number 5, banning skirts versus giving choice and freedom. Inclusion is about being given a choice, not to take away choice and to create further restriction. Every student should feel they have freedom of choice. Allowing all elements of the uniform to be worn by any student, regardless of gender, is the way forward. What is the real issue here? There's something going on underneath the surface that people aren't saying. Inclusion is bringing all of who you are to work and to school with no censoring, no hiding, and no pretending to be someone else. The real issue that needs to be addressed is this. An environment and culture needs to be cultivated where everyone can feel safe to wear what they want to wear. This is my experience of high school. We could wear either skirts or trousers. Some days I wanted to wear a skirt, on very few days, may I add, but I predominantly wore trousers. Social pressures, peer pressure, and wanting to fit in meant I never did wear a skirt. I didn't feel the environment was one where I could feel comfortable to make that change for the day. I saw others dressing differently for the day and the bullying and inappropriate behaviour that took place as a result of that. I can't imagine what a boy would have experienced from his peers if he chose to wear a skirt for a day. We are conditioned from a young age about what is right and what is wrong, what we should and shouldn't wear dependent on whether we are male or female. And then there's the way that people get used to seeing you dress and present yourself a certain way, creating a fixed identity that cannot be broken easily. And lastly, what our choices of clothing means to others. A boy dressed in a skirt means what? They're gay, they're trans, they're a drag queen. We make judgments instantly about someone based on what they are wearing. Let's give our kids and adults in the workplace choices to wear skirts, shorts, trousers, or any other variation that feels good to them, irrespective of their gender. More choice, less restriction. And most importantly, work on the culture of the environment so everyone feels safe and supported to wear what they want without shame, criticism, judgment, or bullying. Create that environment and you have nailed inclusion. If you want to know more about this topic, I have written a detailed article on it. The link to read it is in the description for the video. Go and check that out. And listen, if you like what you've seen today, please subscribe, share this with your friends, and leave me a message below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.